Hi everybody, it's Lisa here. Hi my sweet lifers. Listen, as promised, a lot of you guys on the channel have been watching me and have been asking me to do kind of a month to month walk through the garden so that you guys can see how things are progressing and what's going on and all that kind of stuff. And so this bed has been sitting here resting. I'm getting ready to plant some more, probably some more lettuces and some spinaches. This bed is going to need to be weeded through. This is the big spinach bed with the perpetual spinach. As you can see, there's a lot of craziness going on in here. The nasturtiums are doing really well over here. We actually even had a lot of this. I don't know if you guys know it or not, but you can plant this, you can eat this, and you can also eat the leaves. It tastes like pepper, and it's really delicious. But everything is starting to get a little wilted because yesterday we broke a record in Houston. We got to 99 degrees and it's mid-May. Tomorrow's Bron's birthday and it's crazy. I mean, it's never this warm this soon. So it's going to be hard for me this year, I'm sure, to be able to get all this stuff done because I'm used to being out here pretty much all day and it's just going to be too damn hot to do it. So anyway, this bed I'm getting ready to figure out what I want to stick in here. I'll probably put some more beets maybe and some more I don't know. I really want to find a place for the okra, but the deer love the okra. And just last night when I took off and went and ran an errand, I ran into 8 deer. The deer are everywhere right now and the little babies are so sweet. I don't mind feeding them, but it's just a mess trying to keep things in the garden, and so I've got to find a spot to put the okra in. Back over here, the salvia, I'm getting ready to cut back half of that and move that to another part of the yard and then put in 150 more gladiola bulbs. So those are going to be more of a consistent symmetrical bed there on that side. But anyway, over here, look at these tomatoes. These are all volunteers. That's what we call it whenever they just show up. And I used to think it was going to be hard to grow tomatoes, but apparently my tomatoes just like to grow here all the time. They're like weeds almost. So I've got to get in here and thin this out. This was not a bed that was set up with an archway, so it's going to be a little harder to keep it supported. But this is what we've got to deal with. I don't even know what kinds these are because the birds have pooped them into the soil, and I plant so many different varieties. This could be a hodgepodge of God only knows what. But anyway, we'll see. We'll see what that is. The kale and the collards are still going strong. I'm going to probably harvest the rest of these and get them blanched up and put into the freezer, and then I'm going to till this one up and let this one rest. I've got some red clover seed I want to put over there and give it a good cover crop and just let it rest for about 6 months before the fall. Over here we've got the beets, the latest beets, and it looks like we've got some pepper plants that came in from last year. That's exactly what these are. These are pepper plants that just came back last year that I didn't do anything with. They made it through the freeze. And they're here, and as you can see, everything's real wilted and droopy. And even though I watered yesterday for a good, gosh, solid hour and a half, I watered the whole garden. Even today, this morning, it's just really droopy. It's just going to be hard to keep everything alive. That's the trouble with Texas. It's so damn hot. Oh, look at here. I guess what I'll probably do now that I see, look at these. These have shouldered. See these beets? That's a pretty quick crop. I just put these in as soon as I harvested the other ones a couple of weeks ago. So I think what I'll do now that I know that this is going on, I'll go ahead and harvest out these beets, get them all canned up, and then put some in over those two beds over there because it's going to be a good thing to have. We always keep a perpetual beet and lettuce bed going because Uncle Brian just loves the beets. And so over here, this next bed I'm going to be sowing in succession. I think I mentioned to you guys earlier on the last video that I was going to be putting in some more, and we tilled it up on Saturday. So I'm going to be harvesting these lettuces, and then I've got 3 or 4 different varieties that I want to add in here. I'll do 2 more, and then another 2 weeks I'll do another 2 more so that we've got it constantly going for salads. Over here I had a real big problem. One of my main reasons for wanting to show you this video is because we had the deer come and eat the tips off of all of the peppers. And they've started to survive and recover now. You can see there's a couple of jalapenos starting there. You see that? But you see the tips are all eaten off. And so what I did is I got some Irish Spring soap and I drilled a hole in it and hung it in there. They did the same thing to the cucumbers. You can look at that celery. I'm wanting her to seed so that I can get celery. My hope is that this half of this bed will all end up in celery because we use celery for almost every recipe. They did the same thing to that multiple pepper bed over here. And you can see right here, look. I finally got the dragon's eggs up. This is a variety of one of the varieties of the cucumbers that I had planted from seed. And I got out here and they had eaten it all the way down to here. And so, look at there. And so then I hung the Irish Spring and look, they've stopped. So it is working. I don't know if this is going to be worth the toot, but I tell you one thing, it's starting to go. So hopefully same thing over here. I had to do the same thing over there. And so hopefully we will get some cucumbers. These are another set of volunteer tomatoes. And when they come in like this, I mean, look at that, guys. I hate to pull them out of the ground. I mean, it's food. So I've just got to rearrange my ideas about where I'm going to put stuff. The cucumbers are all intertwined in it, and I'm going to have to get in here and work on that. But same thing here. I hung some more Irish Spring, and they stopped eating the leaves. But before that, they had chomped them off to the ground. So it's really, it works. It's one of those things, and there's another one there. I know that it looks kind of funky in the garden, but it actually does work to keep the deer away from it. So that's a good thing. Over here, I started thinning out these marigolds. And when I thinned out the marigolds, I found more cucumber. This is again from last year. I've got one side growing over here. There's another one growing over there. They may actually even be cucamelons. I've got to check and see once I figure it out. But look at here. When I dug in here and started to actually save this today to show you, it's time to start harvesting eggplant. May. Guys, usually this is at least another month away, and this stuff is just coming in fast. So I'm excited about it, yes, but I'm also nervous about it because it's so warm so quick, and it's going to be a lot of work making sure that everybody doesn't get dried out and messed up with all this heat. There's another one in here too I saw just a second ago. Right there she is. Not quite ready yet, but just beautiful. These guys I planted probably 3 years ago, and they come back every year, but you have to thin them out. And don't be worried about it. If you just yank them out of the ground and go stick them in the dirt somewhere else and water them in, they'll be just fine, and they'll do beautiful, and they're great for pollination. So they're just sort of sprinkled everywhere. I've got to work on that bed. Looks like the kale has really taken off. That tatsoi, a couple of different other Chinese greens are ready to be picked. Those little flowers that you can see through the grate there that are yellow are all edible. So I'll be putting something together in a salad with those. On this side, I am pleased to tell you that it looks like maybe the peppers are starting to come together. This is that bed, I don't know if you remember, that got really messed up and angry whenever it got real, real cold. And I do see some little buds on those, so that's a good thing. I'll pull this off so you can see it. Got some here. There's actually a pepper. So that's good. That's good to see that. Sometimes it's hard to see it with all the grading. Along this back you'll see there's more tomatoes. No surprise there. And look at these pretty zinnias in here just popping through the rocks. I will take you through here. I did go ahead this year and I put in a bunch of bulbs for the cutting garden. I put in some dahlias and some coleus and some vincas, but these are beautiful. And if you do decide to grow dahlias, which I think everybody should, just be sure that when they get to be like this, you just pinch them off, deadhead them like you would your geraniums, because if you'll do that, then you'll get more blooms and you'll have way more flowers for you to use in your home garden. Over here I planted 14,000, I don't know if you remember me telling you that, 14,000 along this whole back wall of cosmos. And I did 3,000 hollyhocks and I think about 8,000 come and cut and grow again zinnias. And I want you to look at what's happened over here. These guys have just turned into an absolute gorgeous butterfly. Oh, speaking of that, I got us registered for the National Registry for Wildlife Gardens, and the Sweet Life Garden actually made the parameters that you have to be able to do that. So we're providing food, and we're providing water, and we're providing shelter, and we've got all kinds of butterflies and wildlife here. I love it. It's just easy to do. All you do is get seeds and toss them down and water them every single day, and then you have flowers that you can cut. You also have butterflies that just take care of all your stuff in your garden. So along this back wall, we did get all the rocks installed. Thank you to Sienna Mulch. Um, and look at there, the scissors that I've been missing for the last couple of days, I just found. It's a good thing. But look through all of this gorgeousness. So pretty. Such a wonderful way to not only decorate and enhance your garden, but these guys will keep coming over and over again all summer long. And they're so beautiful. And they're so wonderful for the garden, beneficial for all the different butterflies and bees and different bugs that need. There's a bee right there. Butterflies and bees that need to be able to have their food, but also to help you get all your cucumbers and your tomatoes and all of those things ready for your table. So I'm going to go back through, let's go back through here. We've got a big pile of tomatoes and carrots, onions. We've got more of this melon here. All this is Grandback. Grandback did not do this. I don't know what this will be. I don't know if it's cucamelon or if it's regular cucumber, but it's here, so I'm going to let it live and do its thing. It's always nice when you've got that happen. The tomato beds are really beautiful right now, especially. Look at here. You've got just gorgeous tomatoes, big tomatoes. You've got, I see aphids down there. We're going to have to work on that. Zoom in there so they can see those aphids. I'll get that sprayed up with some neem this afternoon. They do not hesitate to invade very quickly. So you must inspect your garden every single week, if not every single day if you can. I know there's a lot of my friends that are weekend gardeners and you don't get to it, but daily would be ideal. And here you've got the little pears coming in. Some of them are good. Some of them look a little sad. I'm going to hit it. I've also got down here, I was going to show you this, some mushroom compost. This is a wonderful compost that is specifically created here in Houston or near Houston, and I get this from Sienna Mulch. It's specifically set up for tomatoes, and so I'm gonna thin these out again, keep thinning them out and cutting them up, thinning them out and tying them up. I'm gonna thin them up, lay that compost down, get some microlife blue on there, which will just stimulate more of their growth, and then some eggshells, and get some calcium into the soil, and that'll help improve these beds. These beds get a little unruly real quick because the tomatoes like to just grow wild, but if you don't cut them up and trim them up and tie them up, they don't produce the fruit. So that's one of the things I wanted to show you over here. This last bed of the tomatoes, I actually started working on. I've been working on these beds for a couple of weeks because it's been so hot. But look at those San Marzanos over there. They're starting to turn red. But right here is the best one. This is one of those wonderful, and I've been saving it to show you. Let me get over here. I tied it up. We got a little bit of blight on that leaf, but I want you to look at that. And she's ready to pick. And some of these tomatoes in here had gotten some black bottom rot, and we put some calcium down. You can see in here, if you take a peek, where I just dumped a ton of eggs. That improved it dramatically. You can buy some liquid calcium, and I've got some of that as well. You mix it up in there, and that'll help it intake it quicker. But that's it. The last bed over here is the artichokes, and I've got to weed it up. It's pretty crazy in here. This one's really crazy. But the nice thing about this artichoke bed, pretty heavy, is like I've told you in the past, once you get it established, and this is bee balm, and there's more volunteers, but those guys, eventually it'll shoot up. When it shoots up, I'll have my artichokes, and I'm so excited about that because I just love artichokes so much. But I also know that with the deer out and about at nighttime, it's a bad idea to have this cage off, because the last time I had the cage off, they came out here and they gnawed it right down to the ground. Okra. the artichokes. They love it. So if you want to feed the deer, you know what to plant. Anyway, I hope that you guys have found some value and a little update on the garden, seeing what's going on, where we're at. I'm really happy about that tomato. I'm really happy about that beets shouldering too, because that means that I can go ahead and harvest a whole nother set and then sow in more beets for Brian. So anyway, if you found any value, do me a favor, like and share. Don't forget to ring the bell, and we'll see you next time on the channel. Take care.